I'm going to talk to you tonight about two things, the essentials and the incidentals, and both of them are important. And so it's all about what's in here. It's all about your thinking. I'm going to tell you a little story. And if you're the person that this was, if you happen to be on this, I am talking to you. I received a message, a private message from somebody who's in town, but not in my organization. And she said, hey, I'm selling a bunch of my Young Living business stuff. Would you be interested in it? And I thought, but why though? And she's not in my organization. And so do you know what that means? That means I am free to go ahead and talk with her about her mindset and what's really going on. And by the end of it, she was instrumental in what I'm going to talk to you about tonight, because I think sometimes people quit because of what's up in here and they don't believe that this is for them, and they get into their paradigms and they get in their stinking thinking, and then they quit. They just think, man, and they give up on their dreams, and they give up on themselves. It's just, it's not okay. So Jill is exactly right. You're here for a reason. How many here were here last time? If you were here last time, tell me if you are now aware enough to be walking around. You might be at the post office, you might be at the mall, you might be at the Costco, and you are so aware of everybody who's around you and of their needs. It's like they're blinking neon signs. I need oils, I need oils, I need oils. Where if you get into conversations with people, be there your friend or somebody who happens to be in the parking lot next to you, when you get into a conversation, can you not see that every single person needs oils? I'm sure you can. And just to loop up a little bit more about what we talked about last time, who has gone out with, who made the business cards like Pam Hunter suggested and said, Zoom with me, and gave them to people? That was like one of the best ideas I'd ever heard. All of this is getting to a point. And here's my point. None of us is perfect. This is about taking you from where you are and growing you just a little bit so that you can be more aware and more effective. Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. They will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And if you think about that, that is so very powerful. We must relearn or unlearn what we thought, relearn new ideas, or we will just still be the same versions of ourselves that we've always have been. What if I told you that what you believe will change absolutely everything about your ability to do this business? What if I told you that you don't have to be that person in order to do it? Has anybody found themselves being that person? Have you done it? I've done it. I will admit it. I have gotten so passionate about what I know about Ningxia Red, or what I have experienced with Ningxia Red, that I have gone to people that I love and I have like grabbed them off the street and thrown them on the ground and like said, you got to join my oily Amway Mafia because it's going to change your life. And everybody slowly went. What if I told you that it didn't have to be like that? That you could up your personal game and you could be super effective? There are three things it's going to cost you to believe this. It's going to cost you your paradigms, your pride, and it's going to cost you practice. You cannot get different results if you don't change you. You might want to write that down. You are going to change you. You are going to trade in the old, ineffective you for the confident, passionate, professional, authentic person who can enroll more people. You're going to sacrifice the old version of you for this new incredible version that has been waiting to get out, but didn't know how to do it. So when I said I'm going to talk to you about the incidentals and about the essentials, if I just start spilling all of the incidentals, well, here's how you talk to people. You make eye contact, you walk up to them and you say this and this and this, and then you say this, and then here's your close. It won't be effective. We have to start with the essentials. We have to start with what you believe. We have to start with what's in here. And what's your why? Oh, and by the way, I have got to say something, because the more I do these talks, the more like my reputation grows and people start like, oh, Lori Borre can enroll anybody. Yeah, just watch her. She's like, no, that's not the truth. Lori Borre's the top enroller. And no, that's not the truth. I am a confident enroller. And I do think I know a little bit what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm here to share with you. But I need to make sure that this, like, the reports of my demise, like Mark Twain said, are greatly overstated. The reports of my abilities are greatly overstated. We are all learning, and we are all learning together, and we are practicing. And practice makes better. Practice doesn't make perfect. So I do want to tell you that I did a masterclass on how to enroll over in the Grow group in an event. And I said that I was going to take it down today, but when I realized I had this today, I decided to leave it up for another week. So it's there. And if you want to know more and you want to up your skill set while you take a look at your mindset, then I would encourage you to head over there and do that. All right, so let's talk about our why and our service-driven why. I hear a lot of talk about goals, and I don't want to step on any toes because I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but I can tell you that my understanding of goals was always incomplete. I thought that goals had to be these SMART goals, that they had to be specific and they had to be timely and they had to, I can't even remember it all, but it was all too green for me. I couldn't decide if it was reasonable or not. I couldn't get there. And so I didn't make goals. I also heard or believed, I don't want to put this on anybody but me, I believed that the goals had to be things that I was going to hold in my hands, things that I was going to, be specific about, like I was going to pay off my mortgage. That was a goal. Or I was going to get nice new shoes that actually fit my feet so that when I went on stage, I wasn't like, ow, 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 ow with every single step. Right? Those were goals. I'm grateful to Melissa Pepping for teaching me that goals are different than gets. Gets are things that you're going to hold in your hand and you're going to get them along the way. Yeah, you probably will pay off your mortgage. Yes, you probably will get those really amazing shoes. You might get a Louis Vuitton purse. Lord knows what you're going to do with all of these, with all of this fantastic money that is coming to you. But that's not your goal. Your goal is the changes that you're going to make in the world. And this is really important because if I give you these techniques without solidifying the basis of it, then they can be manipulative. You can use them to twist the truth to people. And that's not who any of us want to be. Those people left. The people who were chasing the dollar bills and didn't really ever care about the product or the company or Gary or the fantastic things that are happening over here, they're gone. They were never Gary's people. Bless them. But the people who are here, these are Gary's people. Gary said, I never made a product for a profit. I only made a product for a purpose. So what's your purpose? I can tell you what mine is. I want to be really compliant, but I was in church and we were praying for so-and-so who needed a liver transplant and so-and-so who needed heart surgery and so-and-so who needed, whatever. And I thought, well, yes, But 90% of what happens to us is lifestyle. What if we could back this up 30 years and make different decisions? What if I have something that the whole world needs? What if people could serve better? What if moms could be better moms? What if kids could be better kids? What if people would have better relationships with their families? What if they could be nicer to each other because somebody put some joy in the diffuser? Now, those are goals. And when you resonate with that and you divorce yourself from the results and the things you're going to get, does it make you more powerful an enroller? Does it make you less afraid? Because fear is a liar, and fear will hold you back. Fear of what? Fear of success, fear of failure. If you haven't succeeded at anything yet, you don't know what I'm talking about. But once you get a little bit of success, sometimes the whole world cares about everything that you do or don't do or say or don't say. How you decorate your house, what kind of car you drive. And judgy people get judgy. You don't think you are going to be in the spotlight? Oh, yes, you are. And fear of failure. Friends, failure is important to teach us everything that we needed to know. And if you're humble, then you'll get the lesson. That's what this person who messaged me this week wasn't getting. She said, I just felt so scammy. I didn't want to do this anymore. Well, she wasn't connecting to a real goal, to a why, to a purpose beyond herself. If you'll connect with that purpose, I can give you some techniques, and I've got some really good techniques for you. Really good techniques. I got techniques that aren't even in the book. Just saying. I think Young Living is full of people who want to serve, but they don't know how. They think it's magic that I just talk to people and enroll. They don't know how. Do you think that's fair? I think that's fair. So there's a bell curve of skill sets. So some people are over here going, well, Lori, how do I talk to people? Are you sure I got to talk to people? Do I really have to talk to people though? do I have to close really? Because I'm not sure I want to close. And then you got the people over here who are enrolling right and left. But if I give them one little extra technique, they'll be like, whoa, double the enrollments. And so I'm here to talk to everybody. And so if you hear a technique over here, that's okay, because repetition creates awareness, right? So I think that people are not closing. There it is. I think that they don't know where to take the conversation. For example, there was somebody who said to me, Lori, somebody walked up to me at my gym and wanted to know what I used to be so effective. And I said, what'd you say? And she said, well, I told him all about peppermint. And I said, that's awesome. And then what? And she said, well, nothing. I don't know. You see? Do you see? I think we're telling our stories, and you've got to have your stories. And yes, you've got to be passionate. But have you ever been over passionate? Have you ever done that? Somebody's asked you a little old question and all they wanted was this, and you went, bleh. And now they're avoiding you. They don't want to be, because they're scared. They're afraid that you're going to vomit on them again. Learn to do the technique that I call drippity drip drop. Drip, drip, drop. Who remembers that song? Drip, drip, drop, little April shower. Just give them this much, just that much, and then feed it right back to them. Well, anyway, so she's like, well, what do I say? Want some? Do you want to try some? Or if it's the right time, you can say, or if they've led you into this, you can say, I teach classes on this Tuesday. You should come. Or I've got a fantastic video that I just saw. I don't know much about this stuff, but I know people who do. And I saw this incredible video. Would you like me to send it? I found it fascinating. You see, it's just the next little step. But back to our purpose. I went to the SEAL team, the Navy SEAL team was interviewed to find out how they choose people for the Navy SEAL team, the best of the best of the best. And they said, well, they discovered this 2x2. All sociologists know the 2x2. It's a chart. On one side, you put competence or skill. On the other side, you put trust level. Now, we all agree that we would like to be, and who do you want on your team, by the way? You want the high competence, high trust people, right? We all want those people. And who wants to be that person? Everybody. What do we not want? We don't want the low trust, low competent person. True? True. But this is what the Navy SEALs discovered. That if it had to be high trust or high competence, they wanted the high trust people. Because the high competence, low trust people were toxic leaders who would destroy an organization. I think those people have left. So even if you don't feel like you're super competent at this, that's okay, because you will get better. Because now your awareness is there. You can't unsee it. Now you look around. If there are two people who have the same set of circumstances and one person can enroll somebody and the other person can't, what's the difference? Difference is you. The difference is your mindset. The difference is, do you believe that you can? And are you playing the infinite game? You see, the high trust person is the one that serves. And when you serve, it comes back to you. So think about your goals, not your gets. Now, there is value in knowing yourself. There is so much value in knowing yourself and what you tend to do and what your color letter or your colors are and what your numbers are and all of that. There's so much value in that awareness, because it needs to happen before you can be aware of anybody else. But I encourage you that knowing yourself is the first step. Knowing other people and being able to read other people will help you serve people better. And if you can serve people how they like to be served, you will be more effective at your enrolling. You'll know if you did it wrong, by the way. Have you ever gotten it wrong? What I'm talking about is mirror neurons. Has anybody ever heard of mirror neurons? If God didn't want us to use our mirror neurons, he would not have given them to us. It is your mirror neurons that help you with talking to babies. Have you noticed little babies have mirror neurons? If you make faces, the little baby makes the face, don't they? You want to have fun with a little baby? Do like this. Pretty soon, the baby will start doing that. And friends, if you're chasing the dollar bills, this can sound like manipulation, but if you're chasing the service, this is advanced empathy. You were given mirror neurons for a reason. Learn to use them. So, how can we use our mirror neurons? Last time I talked a little bit about watching other people's body language and mirroring it. Somebody else is playing with their hair. You might give your hair a flip. You will see good friends doing this when they're having lunch or dinner together or something. You will see spouses do this. You'll see both parties leaning in when they're at a table. Have you ever seen it where one person is leaning in and the other one is doing like that? See, if I just give you the techniques and you don't care, are you more likely or less likely to enroll somebody if you're if you're just doing it your way. This is just how I am. This is how I like to be. I can't help it. Oh, paradigms. Paradigms are a collection of ideas that you know or you don't even know that you have, but they drive everything, every single decision you have. And what's funny is, or every single decision you're making. And what's funny is you can see other people's paradigms, can't you? When they're talking and they're like, oh, well, I can't do this because blah, blah, blah. And you yourself have solved that problem. You're thinking that's a paradigm. As well, this is just how I am. You know, I can't change, blah, blah. You're like, that's a paradigm. Well, I don't have time to do this. That's a paradigm. You can just see all the paradigms, can't you? So anyway, don't let your paradigms keep you from being more effective at peopling. So that mirroring technique is really big. You know what else you can mirror? You can mirror people's speech, their rate of speech. If you're talking to people who come from New York, they like to talk faster. Is that not true? Typically. And what do some people from New York think about people who speak slowly? Do you know? Slow talker, slow thinker. But if you come from the South, what do they think about fast talkers? Typically, not everybody, but what is it? What do they think? They're a little bit tricky. Not going to pay attention as much to that. Have you ever found yourself in the company of somebody who was a professional, you know, like a doctor or a PA or an NP or something like that? And you're talking really, really fast, and they're looking at you like, how much more effective will you be if you just say to yourself, now, Lori, you are so chill right now. You're so chill. You know what you're talking about. Don't be intimidated. Mirror neurons. Don't overdo it and don't underdo it. Next technique, empathy. When somebody, oh boy, I dropped my notes. I wonder what it said. Oh no. What's the etiquette on this? Do I just keep going? Okay. Let me go to the next step. Empathy. So when somebody's telling you you've asked good questions. We talked about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. We talked about double clicking. Tell me more about that. A really great thing that you can do while they're saying these things is to give them some empathy. It seems like, wow, seems like your family's really important to you. Oh, they are. La, 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 la. It feels like. Those are really incredible things. And then just feed it back to them. Now, I've heard the technique where you say, what I hear you saying is, and it doesn't land as authentic in my ears as it seems like it feels like, but however it lands in your ears is fine. It's better to do it than to not do it. But if you'll just memorize those few things to say, that's really important. That will serve you. All right. I want to talk to you about a big technique that I did not put in the book, but it's really good. And this one is ask aggressive versus tell aggressive. And don't get overwhelmed. Don't hear these 500 techniques and say, oh my word, I can never do this, right? I'm giving you all of the techniques so that the people over here have something to chew on. Just pick one if you're over here. And somebody said to me the other day, but Lori, I don't want to, I don't want to, I'm an introvert. I don't want to tackle people in the grocery store. And I'm saying, see, that's a paradigm. I said, has somebody ever extroverted all over you? And she said, Uh-huh. I said, it's overwhelming, isn't it? Uh-huh. But that was her paradigm. That's what she thinks I was teaching. See, I'm not teaching that. I'm teaching if you're talking with an introvert, you're going to probably talk a little bit differently than if you're talking to an extrovert like me, who's all over the place. You're doing it more like they want to do it. And I said, just look at them in the eye. Just make it a point to everywhere you go, make eye contact with people and smile. You will find out who wants to play and who doesn't want to play. And if they don't want to play, what did that cost you? Nothing but a smile and some eye contact. Okay, here's the technique. Ask aggressive. There's ask aggressive and there's tell aggressive. So tell aggressive is when I give all of my opinions. I have a lot of opinions, friends. If most people knew all of my opinions, they probably wouldn't want to hang around me a lot. I don't tell everything I know. But I might ask why. It helps people think. Let me give you an example. You walk into a hotel and you look around and you say, well, this is really beautiful in here. Oh, I like how they did this and this, but I don't really like that. I think that was a little bit over the top. They probably could have dealt without that. They look over there and then, the bellman, and I could give all of my opinions. Or I could ask the person that I walked in with, well, what do you think about this hotel? And that forces them to think about it. And then they give me their opinions. Now, I just learned a lot, didn't I? About their thinking, their paradigms. Most salesmen just talk too much. And I'm not saying never tell your story. Oh, you must tell your story, and you must do it passionately, and you must dig into the painful part of the story so that you find common ground. That's where they bond with people. That's where people who are listening to your story bond with you. But I am saying, what if you could tailor it? Ask aggressive. So what if there's a controversial topic that comes up? Ask aggressive. Well, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that? Or what if I told you this? Would you believe that? What if I told you that I had an incredible group of young moms and they were all taking charge of their own family's wellness, and they had such empowered hands, and that everything that you just told me is figure outable? What if I told you that? Makes them think, doesn't it? Here's another question. Do you really want to know? Do you really want to know? Let me give you a setup. I'm sitting at the basketball game, and there's somebody beside me, and I start asking them questions. So, what did you do today that you haven't done any other day? There's a great question. What kinds of books are you reading? What are you into? So they tell you about their book, and you're, oh, wow, it seems like you really love to read. Oh, I can see that you love research. They're going on, and then they come back to you. Well, tell me what books you're reading. I'm doing research into the health of the liver. Utterly fascinating. But back to you. Ask them a question. You just dripped a drop. Don't say, I'm doing research into essential oils, and I think it's fantastic, and everybody in the whole wide world needs essential oils. And there's one company that's really the best. We got the Sourcing Science and Standards, and we got the Seed to Seal, and we got really fantastic compensation plan, and I'm going all the way to the top, and blah, 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 blah. And that's what I'm into. No. I'm doing research on the liver. Now back to you. And you ask them a question. I'll tell you what, if you hit it right, they will chase you down. Well, what are you finding out about the liver? What do you know? Oh, wow. I'm finding out that the health of the liver is the number one predictor of your longevity. It's just absolutely fascinating. But boom, ask them another question. Is that your little Johnny out there? He's great. How long have you guys been playing this? Oh, they will come back if they're interested. They will hunt you down and chase you. And sometimes you'll ask, do you really want to know? Because I don't want to vomit on you. I tell you what, I've got a fascinating recording I could send you. Do you want me to send that? And if they're not interested, just move on. Ask them something else. Keep asking questions. You will eventually find out what the need is. You get around the people, form a bond, find the need, fill the need, close the deal. That's how you enroll. That's how I enroll. Asking aggressive keeps you from over talking. It keeps you from arguing because there's no argument. They're just telling you everything that they believe. So let's talk about closing. And then I'm going to take questions because the glory of this is the Q&A, because that's where the good stuff comes out. I taught you the I believe close. I got that from Marcella von Harding. 3 I believes. And if you're clever, they will be the same I believes that they said when you were talking to them. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't usually address whatever it is that comes up. When I find the need, I rarely go after it. Oh, have you ever heard of essential oils? Yeah, I sell them. You need to do this and this and that. I don't. I pocket that information and I get them into a class, or I pocket that information and I get them into a coffee or a tea later, or I pocket that information and I get them into a phone call later. And when I happen to talk about it at the class, they think I'm a genius. They want to know how I know that. So anyway, I believe. And then if you believe what I believe, you belong with the I'm living. I told you the story about Bob and how you've just got to ask the question. Just, you want some? There are fancier closes. And again, if you're not closing at all and it's uncomfortable to even ask the question, just get used to asking the question. But if you're over here where you're kind of a boss closer, then think about those times that you didn't close and some of the closes that might help you. So I really like the good, better, best close. And especially at vendor events, I love making 3 sets of bundles that people can point at and say, I'll take this one. And most people will take the middle bundle. So if you have one that's $165 for the premium starter kit, you have another one that's 300 PV and it's got Ningxia Red in it and it has the Thieves Household Cleaner. Call it around the home, clean around the home, or clean out the junk in your home, or something like that. Give it a cute name, something cuter than that. I didn't think about that. And that's the 300 PV one. But then you put the 1000 PV one on there too. Guess what? Some people will pick the 1000 PV. But a lot of people will pick the middle one because they just don't want to appear cheap. Okay. So you could say, you've got options. Based upon listening to you, you have options. We could do it this way, we could do it this way, or we could do it this way. Which one suits you best? You can ask people, do you have a budget in mind? I mean, this is your wife's birthday. And I can spend all the money, trust me. but I'm wondering if you had a budget in mind. And then I will put some ideas together based on your budget. And it'll be a good, better, best kind of an idea. You can also do the consultants close. That's where you have been listening patiently to everything. And then you say, you know what, based upon what I've told you, or based upon what you've told me, I think I would recommend you start with the Ningxia Red, because Everything that you just said to me, I have experienced. Can I tell you my story? And then you tell them your story. That's a whole nother topic, how to tell a good story. So that's where I would recommend you start. What are your thoughts on it? After you close, anything else you say talks them out of the sale. Oh, friends. If you will just improve yourself, you can squeeze this into the cracks of time. Anywhere you go, you can pick up the people. One more technique I wanted to give you, and then I will wrap up, is handling objections. And I taught you before about mirroring and handling objections, and that's very powerful. But I wanted to bring up the Terry Seacrest method of handling objections because it is genius. It doesn't matter what they say. She says, no, that's the best part. So if somebody's saying, well, I don't know, I don't have a lot of money. Oh, that's the best part. This has an income opportunity with it. And when you fall in love with these, you're going to want everybody else to have them. And everybody else is going to want to have these because they're going to see the kinds of changes that these make with you. Somebody says, I don't know. It doesn't matter what the objection is. No, that's the best part, Terry says. Oh, I have to talk to my husband about that. Well, that's the best part. I offer money back guarantees. So that's where I would go. That's the best part. If you get these home and they don't work for 30 days, you tell your husband you can get your money back because I will cut you a check for every dime you spent, including tax and shipping. Now, lest you all panic, I've never had anybody meet the criteria. And the criteria is you take them home, you use them. You anoint yourself and your family and your friends in your neighborhood. I don't care if you drink them. If you don't think these work, at the end of 30 days, you give me my oils back and my diffuser back, and I'll cut you a check for every dime you spent. So that's the best part. This comes with a money back guarantee. All right. Friends, people are waiting for you to come to them. This is all awareness. You know what belief looks like? Belief looks like dig in and start practicing. Start dealing with your paradigms. Write down every negative thought you have, and then under it, write down the opposite of that thought. And if it helps you, say something like, I'm currently looking for ways to. So if your negative thought is, I can't enroll people, then you say, I enroll people with grace and ease. And if you can't believe that one yet, then write down, I am currently looking for ways to enroll people. Doesn't that just change everything about how you just felt? And Jill teaches this very well. What you think affects how you feel, and that affects what you do, and that affects your results. And then people say to me, no, Lori, you have to do the right thing, whether you feel it or not. Oh, hogwash. If you try to go do this and you're not feeling it, have you ever not been in the zone? Have you ever been in the zone? Do you recognize the difference? What's the difference? Thinking, suck down a nitro and get in the zone. I was not in the zone when I was caring for my elderly mother-in-law during home hospice, right before she passed. I was the sole caregiver. And people would come in afterwards to the sale, and they were like, man, they were trying to get me to sell them oils. They're like, oh, Lori, I'm so stressed out and I'm this and that. And thanks for staying up late so that I could come get these things. It's really important. I've got to resell them and blah, blah, blah. Like all of the needs were just flashing neon signs. And I was not in the spirit of it. And I was saying, that's really too bad. That'll be $5.55, please. Thank you. Like, I couldn't buy a chair. But have you ever been in the zone when you know what you're capable of? So write down everything that you think you're not capable of. Write everything down and flip it on its end and write, I'm currently looking for ways to, if you have to help yourself, because that is true. You are looking for ways to improve this or that. This is going to cost you your paradigms. It's going to cost you your pride, because you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. I make mistakes. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten done with a conversation with somebody, they walked away, and I thought to myself, oh, what a train wreck, Lori. You know what you could have said? What you might have said, it's all right, you'll do better next time. And it's going to cost you your practice. So do that. Now let's talk about belief and what you're aware of. Who wanted to buy stock in Amazon in 1997? Who wishes they had done that? Who wishes that they had Bitcoin in 2009? When you change your awareness, you become aware. When you change your paradigms, you become aware of opportunities that you weren't aware of before. You walk out of a building and you see a bulletin board and you think to yourself, oh, what if I put a business card up there? I wonder what would happen if I blah, blah, blah. Like, all of the ideas are coming to you when you will change your own awareness. You've got to believe. And I'll leave you this story and then I will take questions. You have to believe. You have to believe in the company. I think we all do. You have to believe in the product. I think we all do. Here's the rub. You have to believe in you. I remember when I met my coach, Bill, and he hadn't hardly said 3 words to me. And he looked in my eyes and he said, why won't you believe? And I was like, am I wearing a neon sign or something? Like, how'd you know that? Am I like walking around? I didn't tell you that. How'd you know? He said, it's written all over you. And I was a diamond, friends. And I said, I don't want to believe if it isn't so. Can you see the genius in other people? I can. It's no big deal to see the genius in everybody else. You think everybody else is capable of something that you are not capable of. What hogwash? What gives you the right to talk to yourself like that? What might change if you would believe that everybody is waiting for a conversation with you? There is room at the table for everybody who comes to serve. There's room at the table for every single one of you. And I'm honored to be at that table with you. And now I'm ready for questions. I saw that there was a hand up. What did I do to work on me? I am currently enrolled in personal development courses, and I will be forever. There are so many out there. Melissa Pepping does a basics course that is fantastic. Kristen Boss does a course that is fantastic. Oh, Edie Wadsworth does a course that is fantastic.
Hi. So I realized that my fear is, or what's holding me back, is that I don't really have a peer like group of people to like talk about oils to, because I don't really have anyone besides my mom that I'm talking to. I moved states. So should I focus on like meeting people, and then what should my mindset be if I don't really have anyone to talk to? Should it just be to be open and, like you said, like kind of just realize that people may have a need? Like what's the approach I should have?
Well, I thank you for that question. I think that you're tap dancing around the answer. You got to it. Should I just realize that people need me? Yes. Yes. What if we flip that on its head? There are lots of people who want to talk about these things with me. They're just wherever they are now. What if it's your job to find them? What if it's your job to be the leader and to create it? And they're out there. I mean, get on Grow. There's so many oily people who want the best for one another. But back to you. What if it's your job to create an incredible community of people who need to hear your voice? That's my answer. Do we have any more questions? And feel free to give me what do I say if this? Feel free to give me those, because we can parse out some paradigms.
This is Linda Myers, and even though I've been doing this 6 years, I can't figure out how to get my name on the thing tonight. It should be there. I wanted to thank you for the many times I've heard you speak, and each time I learned something. And you're amazing. Your passion always comes across, and your care for people, and it just, I learn something every time. Thanks for your gift of time tonight, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Wow, you can stay. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Now, I'd like you to turn that right back around to you. Good job showing up. Leaders show up. We all learn by being around other people. Was it Jim Rohn who said that you become the sum total of the 5 people that you hang around most?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
And I can imagine a day when people are saying that to you, because there's nothing new under the sun.
It's like when you keep giving, so many people have needs. They're just going to come to you. And I just want to share with the lady who was on earlier, because I did this for about 3 years and I didn't have a lot of people around me. And when you, like you say, you just keep giving, people are going to find you, because so many people need somebody to care. And when you know that you're just there to give, people are going to show up. So I want to encourage that lady who just spoke a minute ago that felt like she was by herself. You've got something to give. I didn't catch her name, but I wanted to encourage her.
Thank you for saying that. The truth is that people don't even buy oils. People buy what?
You.
You. How you feel, how you care. You have the ability to make people feel in ways that nobody else does. So look at what you just did. You just encouraged somebody else.
Well, thank you for your gift of time tonight.
Thank you. All right. What other questions? Oh, we have hands up.
What would you suggest? I actually had my boss say to me today, when we have a chance or when we have time, like if we ever do, I would like for you to share with me, how'd she word it? About essential oils, or how to come into essential oils. And so I'm like, I tend to be an extreme one way or the other, like vomit everything or like clam up. So I kind of clammed up because I didn't want to vomit. So how do I like ease into that?
Well, first of all, congratulations, because you're doing something right, or she wouldn't have come to you and asked that. So congratulations. So let's hear, do we hear that paradigm? Oh, I tend to do this or that. Yeah, I'm so chill. She came to me for a reason. By God's grace, I have been blessed with this knowledge, and I'm going to give this the best way possible. And then here is one of my favorite phrases. If you catch me at a vendor event, you will hear me say this a lot. So write it down, sister.
I will.
There's so many different, you ready? There's so many different ways we could go with this. Let me ask you some questions first. What made you ask me? What made you ask me about oils? Have you used oils before? What were the results? Oh, tell me more about that. What's going on? Okay, so if I were a genie in the lamp and you just rubbed the lamp, what 3 things do you want me to zhuzh for you? Like, I find out everything.
Okay.
And then close.
Okay.
What a very good question. You just pulled out one of my best. See, it's not really fair because I've enrolled people who are now watching this going, it's all right. They know that I don't need them. They need me. And I say that in the most loving possible way. I adore these people, but I didn't chase them down for the dollar bills. It wasn't about the 25 bucks. So.
So here's my ordeal that I'm not ordeal. That's the wrong wording. The situation that I'm going through right now. I went to a birthday party, and you know the little like oil and crystal thing, like necklace that we got a couple of years ago. I was wearing that, and the lady came up to me and asked me about it, and I did a pretty good job not word vomiting because that is usually what I do. We just talked, and she got really interested, and I even made up a quick like my YL bundle for her and sent her the link right then and there. And she was down. She wanted to get it right then, but she had to go home. So she went home and she hasn't bought it yet. And I don't want to be that person who like bugs her and is like, hey, don't forget. But what do I do now? Like, how do I not bug her? How do I just let her be and let her marinate, you know?
Good, really good question. Let me ask you a question. Did she, oh, here we go. Because there's so many different ways we could do this. Let me ask you a question. See what I did there? Did she go witness protection on you?
She has not blocked me. She friended me that day. But she's a paramedic, and she's like, I love essential oils too, and I use these essential oils. I order them from Amazon, and I'm like, oh.
I know. But you said for you.
I did. I was like, well, this is why I choose to use Young Living versus Amazon. And we just kind of went through that, and she's like, oh, I love that. I love that you know where they come from. And I'm like, oh, I'm all about that. Anyway, she has not ghosted me yet, but I know that she has a busy life, you know, kids and work and all of that, you know.
So she didn't go witness protection on you. That means she's probably just busy. She probably,
okay.
And so no trouble to just say, I'm circling back because you had mentioned that you wanted to get that. Is that still on the docket?
Okay.
And you need to know where she is.
Yeah.
And if
I get so worried that like, I don't want to be that person who overdoes it, but also I take it personally.
Right.
I cannot help but like, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong?
No.
What could I do better? I take it so personally when I fail, and it's not a failure, you know. But that's I take it in.
So so I'm so glad you were humble enough to ask this question, because you are 100% right that it's all in here with you. because it's not a failure. Most sales happen after, I think it's 9 touches. Because
Okay.
people, have you ever done the thing where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get one of those, and you put it in the cart, and then the kids get crazy and like you take off, oh shucks, I missed it, and then 3 weeks later you get the email and they keep on those emails. Hey, did you want it? Did you want it? Did you want it? Are you taking that personally? No, because you're like, oh yeah, I did want that. There are people who
Yeah.
we all get busy. We have this in mind, and then we have a car accident. We have this in mind, and then life hits. We have this in mind. Mm-mm. And it isn't a failure. All salesmen need to touch several times gently. You're not being pushy. You're asking, is this still on the docket? Did you still want this? And if she says, yeah, no, I talked to my husband and blah, 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 then that's one conversation and that's not a failure. But if she says, oh my word, yes, I just got busy. I'm so glad you reached out. So this is how you talk to. I'm serving people by reaching out and asking. If somebody was in the middle of the ocean drowning, would you send them a life raft, or would you not want to be that person?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. No, you're serving base.
Yeah.
And find where he is. Just easy breezy like that. Easy breezy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try to play it cool.
Oh, you have a busy
Thank
life.
you.
So I wanted to follow up because I know you are really super busy over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing a good job.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me say another thing, because you made me think of it. You did really good when she said she does Amazon oils. I also want to this is a perfect opportunity to do it for an ask aggressive question. Oh, wonderful. And then when you have time and you're chatting later, you say, so what kinds of testing to make sure, where are the farms that other company, not Amazon necessarily, but if they say, the R word or whatever, where, I'm just curious because I've been looking into this. What are the farms that they grow those in? So it makes people think, oh, wait, it's a farm? Yeah. It's just an opportunity for Ask Aggressive. And thank you for asking. Okay, I'm ready.
Hi. Thank you so much for all you've given us with information. And the last question you answered for her was one of my questions. I have a lot of people I've enrolled that haven't struck, so I'm going to use that. I'm circling back because I want to see where you are on that. So my other question is really in my belief. I'm an executive and I've been there for a while. Know that I want to go to the next levels, and I'm not, it is about serving. So I am intentionally not getting stuck on a rank kind of thing. But it is a personal reflection, I think, of how many people you're serving, in a way, of how many people are enrolled and how many people you're getting with a healthy lifestyle you're helping. So I guess my question is, with my belief, I think there's definitely something that's not connecting with my belief system with that. And how would you do that paradigm, you said? How would I do that paradigm?
So I give you one technique. Write down everything that you're thinking and flip it on its head. But for me, it was more than that. Paradigms die hard. And I had to get myself into some coaching. Kristen Boss has a lot of free things that's where I would start. And then when you've used, right? And
I'm doing that one. So
the Grow Group, yes. And for me, it was Melissa Pepping's training that just, and Edie Wadsworth, the belief plan. Yeah. So Jill teaches a technique where she takes your thoughts and traces it down to what's your thought, how is that making you feel, and then what is the action you're taking and what is the result. And then if you flip the thought, now how does that make you feel and what action are you going to take and what's the result of that? Yeah. The world is your oyster when it comes to changing your paradigms. If you get on YouTube, you can look at Les Brown, you can look at Lisa Nichols, you can look at Bob Proctor, who owns the stage when it comes to this sort of thing. You can listen to Earl Nightingale's stuff from 50 years ago. It's everywhere. So pick one and dig in. And I'll tell you one way this worked with my kids recently. So this will make you a better mom, better friend, better spouse, better everything. I was ready to rail on them for having a dirty room. Like, this is atrocious. How does anybody function like this? Why would you? And mid-sentence, I flipped it. And I said, what incredible opportunities there are here. This is one amazing as soon as we're done. In an instant, it was different results. And your job is to learn to do that for you.
Yeah. Powerful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think we have one more, Rhett. Thank you.
Okay. I'm a little bit reeling from tonight because my mind is going up about 14 different ways. But one thing I've got going on is I'm taking in too much. I've like literally right now, we've got so much wonderful resources. I've got 3 hours a night on Monday nights and Tuesday nights of learning. And I love it, but it's making me freeze because I'm not doing anything. And so that's the first issue. The second issue is that I'm in a real season of change. I've been a mom of 6 for 30 years, and my youngest is getting ready to graduate, and I've also homeschooled them for 30 years. So, I mean, I've literally been doing one thing for 30 years. All my people groups, all my everything, I don't have anymore. And I'm just kind of sitting here going, oh, I could try some of these things out. I don't even go out to shop very much anymore due to some health issues with my husband and different things like that. So I'm like, oh, great. I'm turning into a dark hole.
Thank you for saying this. So I'm a mom of 6, and I have 3 launched and 3 yet to go. And I feel it. You know, I heard something from Amanda Friedel recently about, I'm not going to get this exactly right, but one person's trial is another person's opportunity, kind of thing. A lot of us are waiting for our circumstances to change before we change. First of all, you're going to want to deal with the grief, the very real. You're going to deal with that. Because if you don't go anywhere and you don't talk to anybody, I can't help you do network marketing, because by definition, it's networking. But after that, then you're in a set of circumstances. There are moms would have a whole bunch of little babies who think that they can't do this network marketing thing because they don't have the time. There are moms who have just launched their kids, who have all the time in the world, who think they can't do this network marketing thing because now they're not hanging around those people anymore. It's not your circumstance. It's what you do with it. And sometimes, especially green personalities, yes, what you think about your circumstances, exactly. Green personalities are searching for ultimate truth, and they think they have to wait until they find it before they make a change in their circumstances. Like, yeah, I'm gonna teach classes on oils as soon as I have the whole EODR memorized and I know what dairy knew. It is your actions that will lead to more ideas, and those ideas will fuel actions, and it's a beautiful cycle. And so it is changing what you think about your circumstances rather than changing your circumstances. I could tell you examples of people who didn't have a car who built a diamond, and other people who did it all on social media, and other people who I've lived in a 900 person town, and other people who have little kids, and other people who are graduating their kids, and has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the opportunities that are right in front of you. What could you learn about? What groups could you join? Could you learn to quilt? Could you get in quilting groups? Could you renovate houses with other people? Could you show up for church events that you didn't used to show up to? There's just so many opportunities. And as a mom who's homeschooled 6 children, there are people who want to know what you know. Could you start a group for younger homeschool moms who would love to hear your wisdom? Could you have Taco Tuesdays and feed them lunch and let them bring their kids and play while you talk to them about how to empower themselves in their homes? The opportunities are endless. The thing about getting overwhelmed is action stops the overwhelm.
So just do something.
Uh-huh. And if it doesn't work, do something else. Or change how you do something. Like if Tuesdays from 1 to 3 doesn't work, maybe Tuesdays from 2 to 4 does.
Because I started building on Facebook, and Facebook is not being kind to me now. And so I think that's part of it, is that I'm like,
pivot.
I know I've got to pivot.
Yeah, we've got to do something. Otherwise, we're all in our head and we do nothing. And then that just creates defeatist mentality. It's all changing your thought about your circumstance.